They sent an obese girl to a poor farmer as punishment. She had no idea he owned thousands of acres. The bus coughed dust onto the cracked road, leaving Alara standing alone in the suffocating silence of nowhere. Her worn suitcase felt like an anchor, her second-hand dress clinging uncomfortably in the late summer heat. Shame burned hotter than the sun. Back in the city, her aunt's words still echoed, sharp as shards of glass. "Honestly, Alara, at your size, you're a burden, a spectacle. Go to Uncle Silas. He's poor, needs help. Maybe hard work will trim you down, or at least teach you humility." Punishment, that's what it was. Exile for the crime of existing in a body deemed unacceptable. The farm her aunt described sounded like a hovel, a desperate dirt-poor existence. Alara braced herself for ramshackle fences, a collapsing barn, maybe a single scrawny chicken. Instead, as she trudged down the long tree-lined drive, her breath hitched. The land unfolded before her like a vast green ocean. Rolling hills stretched to the horizon, dotted with healthy cattle grazing in impossibly green pastures. Neat rows of orchards shimmered in the distance. A large, weathered but solid farmhouse stood proudly, smoke curling peacefully from its chimney. This wasn't poverty. This was empire. An older man emerged from the barn, wiping his hands on overalls. He wasn't the stooped, broken figure Alara imagined. Silas stood tall, his frame lean and strong, his face lined with sun and time, but his eyes, they held a startling kindness, not the judgment she expected. He looked at her, not at her body, but at her, weary, scared, lost. "Alara," his voice was gravelly but gentle. "Welcome. Long trip." She could only nod, tears pricking her eyes. "Aunt Marge said, she said you were poor, needed help." A slow, almost imperceptible smile touched Silas's lips. "Poor in neighbors, maybe. Rich in land, thank the good Lord. Come on in, supper's near ready." He didn't ask about her size, didn't comment on her tears. He simply took her suitcase and led her inside. The days that followed were a revelation. Silas didn't assign her back-breaking labor as penance. Instead, he showed her. He taught her the rhythm of the land, how to check the irrigation lines snaking through the vast fields, how to read the health of the cattle, how to prune the ancient apple trees whose branches groaned with fruit. He spoke of the soil like it was a living thing, of the seasons as partners, not adversaries. He worked alongside her, his movements efficient and strong, never rushing her, never shaming her for needing to rest. Alara discovered her own strength, not the kind that made her thin, but the kind that made her capable. She learned to drive the tractor across acres that felt like her own kingdom. She found solace in the quiet companionship of the animals, who judged her only by the steadiness of her hand and the kindness in her voice. She baked bread in Silas's warm kitchen, the smell filling the house with a comfort she hadn't known since childhood. He ate every slice with genuine appreciation, never a word about calories or portions. One sweltering afternoon, struggling to fix a fence post in a remote corner of the property, Alara stumbled, her foot catching in a hidden gopher hole. She landed hard, pain shooting through her ankle, frustration and old shame bubbling up. She sat in the dust, tears of exhaustion and self-recrimination finally spilling over. Stupid, clumsy, useless. The old whispers returned. Silas appeared moments later, as if he'd sensed her distress. He didn't offer empty platitudes. He simply knelt, his calloused hands gently examining her ankle. "Sprained," he murmured. Then, looking up, his eyes held a depth of understanding that stole her breath. "You know, Alara," he said quietly, "this land, it doesn't care about the shape of the hands that tend it. It only cares if those hands are willing, if the heart behind them is true. You've got both, child. More than most." He helped her up, his support steady and sure, not condescending. As they walked slowly back to the house, leaning on each other, Alara looked out over the thousands of acres Silas called home. It wasn't just land. It was a testament to resilience, to quiet dignity, to building something lasting. And Silas, the man they'd dismissed as poor, saw her, not the punishment, not the body, but the person beneath. The transformation wasn't overnight, and it wasn't about the scale. It was about the light returning to Alara's eyes. It was the confidence in her step as she managed the south pasture. It was the laughter that came easier, shared over mended fences and shared sunsets. She stopped seeing her body as a cage and started seeing it as the vessel that carried her through this vast, beautiful life she was building. Months later, standing on the porch watching the golden light bathe the endless fields, Alara finally understood. They'd sent her away to shrink her, to make her small and invisible. But Silas, with his 1,000-acre heart and his quiet wisdom, had done the opposite. He'd given her space to expand. He'd shown her that worth wasn't measured in pounds or societal approval, but in the work of your hands, the kindness in your spirit, and the courage to stand tall on your own ground, no matter how much of it you owned. She wasn't the girl they'd punished anymore. She was Alara, steward of the land, daughter of the soil, and finally gloriously enough. The vastness of the farm wasn't just Silas's legacy. It was the canvas on which she'd finally learned to paint her own worth, and it was breathtakingly beautiful. If you believe in kindness and justice, please like, share, and subscribe to CA Storytales for more emotional stories. Your support helps us spread hope to millions.